Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered how he stopped craving what he once chased? How did the texts slow down, the compliments fade, the energy shift? One day, you were everything he needed, his peace, his fire, his safe place. And now, it feels like he's somewhere else, craving something you're not even sure you want to compete with. But here's a truth that cuts through every excuse. Attraction doesn't fade. It's redirected. And when a woman understands how the mind works, how desire is wired, how mystery is remembered, she becomes unforgettable, not because she begs for attention, but because she activates it with grace, with energy, with power. There's a science to the silence, a rhythm to emotional pull, and right now, Queen, you are standing at the edge of a switch. 7 to be exact. 7 psychological switches that don't chase his love, but summon it. Not through pretending, not through playing games, but through understanding the way his mind connects with presence, confidence, distance, and power. These switches aren't tricks, they're truths. Emotional truths, psychological patterns that flip the moment you stop trying to prove your worth and start knowing it. Think of a candle in a dark room. The flame doesn't move, doesn't reach, doesn't beg, but everything around it is drawn to its light. That's what happens when a woman steps into herself. He doesn't fall in love with need. He falls in love with depth, with the way she walks away instead of explaining, with the way her silence says, "I don't chase what's not mine." With the way she disappears, only for her memory to haunt every other smile he tries to find comfort in. He won't tell you this, but here's the secret. Craving starts in absence, not in distance, but in emotional space. When you stop offering all your soul before it's earned, when you stop trying to be perfect and just become present, he feels it, deep. And it's that feeling that makes him come closer, not because he was forced, but because he couldn't stay away. This is not about manipulation. This is about returning to your power. You've been loving like a servant. Now it's time to love like a queen. And yes, beautiful woman, you are that queen. Not because of what you offer him, but because of what you've remembered about yourself. From this moment on, the crown is not something you earn, it's something you wear. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you of the woman you've always been but sometimes forget to be, then let that feeling guide you. Like this video if it spoke to your heart, and subscribe to the channel because we are working hard every single day to bring you content that heals, empowers, and helps you rise. You deserve to feel seen, understood, and unstoppable, and that's exactly why we're here. Number 1. The switch from explaining to vanishing gracefully. Have you ever noticed how the more you explain, the more he pulls away? Like every message you send, every effort to make him understand just fades into silence. It's like standing in front of a closed door, knocking louder and louder, hoping this time he'll open. But here's the truth most women don't want to hear. He doesn't miss the woman who keeps knocking. He misses the one who suddenly vanishes, the one who once made noise, then became a mystery, the woman who no longer explains, argues, or pleads, just disappears with grace and never looks back. There is a switch that turns in his mind the moment your energy goes quiet, the moment he feels your absence, not your words. And that switch? It hits harder than any conversation ever could. Because a man may ignore your voice, but he cannot ignore the echo of your silence. When you walk away without a scene, without a warning, without a single ounce of begging, he notices. He starts to feel it, the energy shift, the weight of your missing presence. And suddenly, you're not just another woman. You become the mystery his mind can't stop replaying. A beautiful quote says, "Disappear like a queen and he'll chase your ghost forever." And that's exactly what happens. Think of a rare flower that bloomed in his garden. He took its beauty for granted, never watered it, never cared for it. Then one day, it was gone. And now, every time he walks by that empty space, he remembers. He regrets. He starts craving what he thought would always be there. And the irony? By then, your garden is blooming somewhere else. Stronger, brighter, untouchable. You don't need to keep proving your worth, lovely woman. You don't need to explain why you deserved better. The moment you vanish with self-respect, with quiet power, with dignity, that's when he starts craving the woman he thought he understood but never truly appreciated. That's the beginning of your rise. That's the moment you shift from explaining to becoming unforgettable. So hear this, queens. Your silence is sacred. Your absence is a statement. Your disappearance is power. Write this in the comments and claim it. My silence will echo louder than words. Let him feel the weight of what he lost. And if this message touched you, if it reminded you of the fire that's been waiting inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to bring you truth, strength, and life-changing lessons because you were never meant to beg. You were meant to reign. Number 2. The switch from pleasing to positioning. He doesn't crave the woman who pleases. He craves the woman who positions. There's a reason he pulls back when you start giving too much. There's a reason he grows distant when you shrink yourself just to keep the peace. It's not because you weren't loving enough. It's because you were too available, too easy to reach, too willing to mold yourself around him. A woman who always says yes loses the power of her presence. But the moment she stops pleasing and starts positioning herself like a woman who knows her value, that's when everything shifts. That's when he starts noticing. That's when he starts craving. A wise woman once said, "Stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm." And that includes him. Every time you overextend, every time you silence your needs, every time you try to prove your worth, you lose yourself a little more. But here's the truth he will never admit. He is drawn to the woman who stands in her own lane, not the one constantly running to keep up with his. Love doesn't require sacrifice of your identity. It requires presence in your power. And when you hold your position with quiet certainty, he feels the shift. Imagine a queen at a royal banquet. She does not walk around refilling glasses, making sure everyone is satisfied. She sits at the center, calm, steady, confident, and others adjust around her. She doesn't chase validation. She is validation. That's the energy that flips the psychological switch in him. Not the girl who gives everything just to keep him happy, but the woman who gives nothing unless it's earned. This is where the transformation begins. This is where you stop asking, "What more can I give?" and start asking, "Is this aligned with my worth?" The woman who stops pleasing is the woman who becomes unforgettable, and once you make that switch, he starts noticing every little thing you don't do anymore. That absence becomes the loudest presence he's ever known. So, lovely woman, no more lowering your standards just to make him feel tall, no more dimming your light to keep him comfortable. You were never meant to serve, you were meant to shine. Let your position speak louder than your words. And from now on, walk like a woman who doesn't audition for love. She owns the stage. Affirmation: I do not please, I position. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. Let it be known that you are no longer bending, you are rising. We are working hard to bring you the lessons that awaken your power and help you reign. Number 3. The switch from reassurance to rarity. Have you ever noticed how the more you reassure him, the less he values your presence? The more you explain, the more he pulls away. It's strange, isn't it? You give your heart, your clarity, your constant yes, but the more available you become, the less he seems to crave it. That's not a failure, Queen. That's human psychology. A man doesn't chase what always stays. He chases what he fears he can lose, and that's where everything begins to shift. The moment you switch from being always available to becoming beautifully rare. Reassurance feels like love when you're trying to keep someone close. But real desire isn't built through repetition. It's built through emotional contrast. He won't crave you when your words are always there before his questions. He craves the woman who lets the silence speak. He doesn't remember the ones who constantly prove they care. He remembers the one who made him wonder, the one who didn't explain herself, the one who knew her value and didn't hand it out like candy. Think of it like perfume. The strongest scent is the one that lingers, not the one that's sprayed every 10 minutes. When you stop reminding him how special you are and start being special by moving in your own world, he feels that shift. He feels your energy pulling back. He feels the distance he didn't expect. And suddenly, the woman he thought would always be there becomes the woman he can't stop thinking about. You don't need to reassure a man who's losing sight of your worth. You need to become the woman who no longer explains why she deserves to be chosen. Let him sit with his questions. Let him feel the space. Because craving starts when certainty ends, and once he realizes you're no longer trying to be understood, that's when he starts trying to understand you. Dear lady, you were never supposed to beg for presence. You were meant to become it. You are not here to over-explain your heart to a man who's not listening. You are here to live in your own frequency, to let your absence speak volumes, to let your energy draw in only what aligns. So step back, let him crave, let him question, let him feel. Write this in the comments and claim it. I am rare. I do not explain. I make him crave. We are working hard to bring you content that shifts your mindset, heals your heart, and helps you rise into your full power, because you were never meant to chase, you were meant to reign. Number 4. The switch from reaction to mystery. Have you ever noticed how fast he pulls away when you overreact, and how deep he leans in when you say nothing at all? It's strange, isn't it? The more you try to explain, the less he seems to understand. The more you show him your emotions, the more he pulls into silence. But here's the shift. Craving isn't born from constant reaction. It's born in the space between your silence and his confusion. When he can't read you, he starts thinking about you. And that, Queen, is when the craving begins. Not every move deserves your response. Not every shift in his energy is your cue to explain. The moment you stop reacting, you stop being predictable. And a woman who becomes unpredictable becomes unforgettable. He starts watching more closely. He starts wondering what changed. He starts feeling what he never expected to feel, the fear of losing access to your world. That's the moment he realizes he doesn't have you like he thought he did. You are not here to explain your emotions like a manual. You are here to become a mystery he studies but never masters. Think of the moon. It never speaks, yet it controls the tides. It shows only what it chooses, hides what it protects, and still, it pulls everything toward it. That's what happens when a woman learns how to hold her energy. You stop chasing. He starts craving. He doesn't need another loud voice. He needs to feel your absence. He needs to feel your stillness and wonder why it suddenly feels so loud. The woman who doesn't flinch at his silence, that's the woman who haunts him. The woman who doesn't over-explain where she stands, that's the one who commands his attention. And this is the beginning of becoming a queen. Not the woman who fights for a seat at his table, but the one who builds her own and lets him wonder if he'll ever be invited again. Your mystery isn't a game, it's your power. Let it rise. Write this in the comments and claim it. My silence makes him crave my presence. Let the world know, queens, that you're done overreacting, done over-explaining, done making noise for someone who should have already been listening. And if this message lit something deep inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to bring you life-changing truths because you were never made to beg, you were made to reign. Number 5. The switch from closeness to controlled distance. There's a strange shift that happens when you stop being too close, too available, too always there. Suddenly, he starts noticing your silence. He begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're becoming, and why it no longer feels like he's the center of your world. He won't say it out loud, but the moment you pull back with intention, something clicks in his mind. That's the psychological switch most never see coming. The switch from closeness to controlled distance. And Queen, it changes everything. You see, a man doesn't crave what's constant. He craves what he can feel slipping away. When he knows you'll answer every call, respond to every text, be ready every time he needs you, he gets used to it. But when you shift your energy, when you stop giving him the best of you without effort from him, that's when the craving begins. Not because you're being distant to play games, but because you're finally loving yourself enough to hold your energy like it's sacred. Desire doesn't live in routine, it lives in the unknown. That's why he pulls away when you're always close, but reaches harder when you're harder to reach. Imagine a flame burning too close to paper. It gets consumed. But place that same flame at a respectful distance, and it warms. It draws you in. That's who you are now. The warmth he misses, not the fire that burned too long for someone who didn't know how to tend to it. In relationships, emotional closeness is beautiful, but only when it's balanced. When you begin to give too much and receive too little, that's not love. That's self-abandonment. And the moment you stop doing that, he'll feel the shift like a wave. He may not say a word, but inside, he's scrambling, wondering why the woman who once made him her whole world has now started making herself her own priority. Dear lady, you are not cold, you are controlled. You are not distant, you are divine space. And this space, it is not empty, it is sacred. Let him step into it with respect, or let him watch from the outside. Because your presence is not free, it is earned. Write this in the comments, queens, and claim it. My space is sacred, not for the ungrateful. Let this be the moment you stop overgiving and start becoming the woman whose presence commands desire. We are working hard to bring you lessons that don't just inspire, they transform. Number 6. The switch from validation to vision. Have you ever noticed how quickly the energy shifts the moment you stop waiting for his approval? That moment when you stop looking over your shoulder, wondering if he's watching, wondering if he likes your post, wondering if he notices your effort, and instead, you look ahead, straight ahead, eyes locked on your future. That, Queen, is the moment everything changes. That is the moment he feels something different in the air, something he can't name, but something he can't ignore. Because the truth is, he doesn't crave the woman who waits for his validation. He craves the woman with a vision so powerful, it leaves him stunned. A woman without vision leans on attention to feel seen. A woman with vision. She glows without being looked at. She doesn't ask, does he approve? She asks, does this align with who I'm becoming? And when you shift from validation to vision, you become more than a partner. You become the journey he wants to follow. Because now he sees you not as a woman looking for love, but as a force building her empire, with or without him. Think of a lighthouse. It doesn't move, it doesn't flash for attention. It stands firm, it shines because it's meant to shine. And the ships, they always find their way back to that light. That's you. You don't move for him. You don't dim your purpose to fit in his shadow. You rise, you lead, you shine, and that vision, that's what starts haunting his thoughts at night. Because now you're not the woman waiting to be loved. You're the one he's suddenly afraid to lose. A vision-filled woman is dangerous in the most beautiful way. She's not angry, she's not loud, she's just focused. And when a man sees that your energy is no longer orbiting around his approval, it triggers something deep, something primal. Because the moment he realizes you're no longer performing for his applause, he starts wondering who you're becoming without him, and if he'll ever be allowed close again. Queens, never trade your crown for a compliment. Never shrink your purpose to fit into a story you've already outgrown. Your vision is your power. Your future is your spotlight. And any man worthy of your love will be drawn to the fire in your eyes, not the fear in your voice. Write this in the comments and claim it. I don't chase validation. I walk in vision. We are working hard to create content that doesn't just speak to your pain, it calls out your power. Number 7. The switch from loyalty to liberation. He never expected you to stop waiting. That's what haunts him the most. Not your tears, not your silence, but the moment you stopped being loyal to the idea of him. You see, loyalty is beautiful until it becomes your cage. You stayed when you should have walked. You forgave what broke your heart. You kept choosing him, even while he chose his comfort over your love. But something inside you cracked, quietly, powerfully, and that was the beginning of your liberation. Because craving doesn't come from comfort. Craving is born in the space where a man realizes he can no longer reach what once felt guaranteed. Queens, loyalty without boundaries turns into self-abandonment. And when you finally choose your peace over his potential, he feels it. Not on the surface, but deep. It hits him when he doesn't hear from you. It hits him when he sees your energy shift. It hits him when you go from always there to completely gone. Because a woman's love is felt most when it leaves. And when you switch from staying out of hope to walking out of power, you flip the craving switch in his mind, and he doesn't even know how to process it. Think of a bird that was always in the same tree. He got used to it. He thought it would sing every morning no matter how he treated it. But one day, the branch is empty. The silence is loud. The sky too wide to chase through. That's what you became. A bird that no longer sings for a man who forgot to listen. And when you fly, you don't just leave, you become unforgettable. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And your strength, Queen, is not in begging him to see you. It's in knowing that his blindness is not your burden to carry anymore. This is the switch that rewires everything, from emotional dependence to emotional freedom. He loses access to you, and that, right there, is when the craving begins. Beautiful woman, he might have taken your loyalty for granted, but your liberation, that's the part he'll never recover from, because once you taste your own power, no man can chain you back to who you used to be. Write this in the comments and claim it, Queens. I choose liberation over loyalty. Let your voice rise and remind the world, your love is not a leash, it's a gift. And if this message lit a fire in your spirit, like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we are working hard to bring you the truth, the strength, and the life-changing lessons you deserve.